In this video, I'm going to go over something that most people do not talk about on YouTube, and that is dropshipping taxes and how to actually have everything set up and structured to make filing as easy as possible. Everybody loves to talk about how much money they make and show flashy Shopify dashboards, but then they don't actually tell you what to do once you start to make money. Now, for this video to really have the most impact and value to you, I would recommend to be making at least $3K a month in profit. And when I talk about profit, I mean actual money that goes into your bank account, into your pocket, after all of your expenses have been paid for. Now, I do want to preface this video by saying that I am not a CPA, I am not your personal accountant. All of this is based off my own personal experience and how I personally have things set up and structured for my business. And I also want to say that I live in the USA, and I know that depending on where you live in the world and even where you live state by state in the US, things will be set up a little bit differently, and deductions and whatnot will be categorized differently as well. So let's hop into my computer and I'm going to show you the general layout of how I have everything set up. Okay, so this is how I have everything laid out kind of on the back end for my business. And this makes it super easy to file taxes come tax time. So I have 3 different bank accounts, bank account 1, 2, and 3. The reason I have 3 bank accounts is so I can segment all of my money. So what that means is bank account number 1 is going to be a checkings account, and that's where all of my Shopify payments or payouts, PayPal payouts, and will go to. So that's where all of the money from the business will be transferred into. And then I will also have all of my supplier invoices, ad spend, whether that's on Google, Facebook, TikTok, any of my expenses will also come out of this account as well. Now, whatever profit you have, and by profit I mean that's after all COGS, which is cost of goods sold, advertising expenses, miscellaneous expenses, and obviously like chargebacks and things of that nature. After all of that is taken out, that is what your profit is. So whatever that amount is will be transferred into bank account number 2, which is going to be a savings account. And the reason I do this is so that you can visually see how much money you have that is not, going to be going to pay off Facebook charges, not going to pay off supplier invoices. If you don't have things segmented like bank account 1 and bank account 2 is set up, it's going to get extremely complicated and confusing once you start doing scale, because there's going to be a lot of money coming into your account and then obviously a lot of money coming out of your account. And if you don't have a proper account just for your savings and just for, or not savings but profit, then your business is going to fail at some point. It's just a matter of time. It's a ticking time bomb. So after you have the savings account set up and all of the money, all of your profit into that account, you're going to automatically transfer 50% of whatever that amount of money is into a third bank account, also another savings account. And the reason you're going to do this is because the money that's in bank account number 3 is just going to be for your taxes, nothing else. You're not going to be swiping it for gas. You're not going to be using this for clothes or money or living expenses, nothing, just for taxes. Your profit is where you can, do your living expenses, leisure, and things of that nature, right? Bank account number 3, automatically 50% of your profit needs to go into that bank account. Now, once you file your taxes and if you have money left over or whatever the case is, then you can move that money back over. But the easiest way to have things laid out is just the way I'm showing it now. Now, you may be wondering, why are you having a checkings account and a savings and all of that stuff? It is a lot easier for payout companies like Stripe or Shopify payouts or PayPal to send money to a checkings account than it is for a savings account. Don't ask me why, that's just been my personal experience from when I've been getting payouts. Now, the nice thing is, by having a checkings and a savings, you can have all of this in one account, for lack of a better term. So, for example, you can have all of this in a US bank or with US Bank. You don't have to have the checkings account with Wells Fargo and then the savings with Chase or US Bank and then your third bank with another bank. You can have the checkings and the savings for bank account number 1 and number 2 within the same banking company. And then as far as coming to the taxes, I want you have to make sure that you talk to your CPA about deductions. So that can be cars, that can be your house if you're working out of your house. Again, take this with a little bit of a grain of salt, because depending on where you live will dictate what you can use for deductions. For me personally, I am leasing my car. The reason that I'm leasing my car is because it is a sports car and it doesn't weigh over, I believe, 6,000 pounds. for you to be able to write off the amount like how you could with the SUV. If I had an SUV, I would finance it or pay it in cash and get it out and done with. The reason that I'm leasing is because I have a sports car and I can write off my entire lease payment for that year as a business expense. And then at the end of my lease, I can obviously decide to turn the car back in, buy it out, whatever the case is. But that's why if you're buying a sports car or anything that is not 6,000 pounds, lease it. That is my personal recommendation. That's what I personally do. Now, if you're buying a G-Wagon, a Lamborghini truck, or any SUV, it doesn't have to be as flashy as that, but any SUV that's over 6,000 pounds, then you can finance it or pay it in cash, and then you can write it off. But the reason I lease is because I can write off my entire payment, and then I have the option to buy it out at the end of the 3 years or however long your lease term is. Now, the key thing to remember is for all of this to work out, so to have all of these different bank accounts set up, this is all gonna only work if you have accurate and consistent profit tracking, which should be done every 3 to 5 days. So that means if you are not accurately tracking how much money is coming in and how much money is leaving, all of this kind of just falls to the wayside. Now, once you're at scale, it is going to be extremely difficult to do any of this without having accurate profit tracking. And the reason I stress this so much is because I see so many people, whether that's students of mine or just other people I see, not doing this. And I was also not doing this at the beginning. And it made it very, very hard for my first ever time filing taxes with the business. It made it extremely difficult because I didn't know what I could use for expenses. I didn't know how much money I was making, how much money I should be keeping. It was a complete nightmare for me and my CPA. So I teach all of my students, and me personally, I live and die by this. You have to have accurate profit tracking. Otherwise, none of this matters. Now, if you want somebody that has kind of walked the path that you are trying to walk down, if you want somebody that can show you a proper proven to work dropshipping strategy as far as product research, as far as website design and layout, and obviously the advertising strategy, click the link in the description down below. And what that's going to do is it's going to schedule a one-on-one call with myself where I'm going to show you exactly how I can help you with your business. We'll go over any questions that you have, and at the end of the call, if I believe that you'd be a good fit, I will extend an offer to you and we'll start working together as soon as possible. So if that is for you, click the link in the description and I will see you in the call.